Thursday, 11:47 a.m. local time. 2 aircraft are on intercept course above the South China Sea. American F-35C Lightning II launched from USS Carl Vinson. Chinese J-20 Mighty Dragon scrambled from Hainan Island. Both are 5th-generation stealth fighters. Both are designed to be invisible. Both have just detected each other at a range where engagement is inevitable. The disputed reef below them is claimed by China, Philippines, Vietnam, and Taiwan. The airspace above is claimed by everyone and controlled by no one. This is the gray zone where sovereignty is a matter of opinion and enforcement is a matter of weapons. The American pilot, call sign Razor 1, has rules of engagement. Do not fire first. Do not provoke, but do not yield. Freedom of navigation applies to air as well as sea. Fly the mission. Complete the patrol. Show that international airspace remains international regardless of Chinese claims. The Chinese pilot, flying as Red Dragon 3, has different orders. Defend Chinese territorial integrity. Intercept foreign military aircraft. Force them to leave. Use all necessary measures. The reef below is Chinese territory by Beijing's declaration, and foreign aircraft over Chinese territory are intruders subject to defensive action. Both pilots are professionals. Both have trained for this scenario. Both know this encounter could end the 75-year peace between major powers. 11:49 a.m. The aircraft merge at 25 feet. Initial pass is observational. Visual identification. Assessment of intent. The American F-35 maintains course. The Chinese J-20 matches speed and altitude. They fly parallel for 30 seconds. Then the J-20 cuts across the F-35's flight path. This is aggressive maneuvering. This is challenging the American aircraft to either turn away or risk collision. Razor 1 doesn't turn. The F-35 maintains course and speed. The J-20 pilot must decide within seconds. Maintain the crossing angle and collide or break off. At 11:50 a.m. and 17 seconds, the J-20 brakes hard right. But the maneuver is too aggressive. The aircraft enters high angle of attack. Airflow separation over the canards. Departure from controlled flight. The J-20 enters a spin. The Chinese pilot fights for control. Altitude is bleeding away. 20,000 feet, 15,000 feet. Recovery procedures are not working. The aircraft is not responding. At 10,000 feet, the decision is made. Red Dragon 3 ejects. Canopy blows. Ejection seat fires. Pilot separates from the tumbling J-20. Parachute deploys at 7,000 feet. The aircraft impacts the South China Sea at 11:51 a.m. Meanwhile, Razor 1 has continued the engagement profile. As the J-20 spun out of control, Chinese ground control issued engagement authorization to other fighters in the area. 2 J-10 fighters were closing from the north. Chinese doctrine for scenarios involving loss of aircraft is clear. The responsible party will be held accountable. The American F-35 has just caused a Chinese fighter to crash. From Beijing's perspective, this is hostile action requiring response. What should command do first? A. Defend and escape. B. Request immediate backup. C. Attempt de-escalation communication. The American pilot has seconds to decide. The approaching J-10s are 4th-generation fighters, not stealthy, not as advanced, but numerous and armed and angry. The F-35 has advantages in stealth, sensors, and weapons, but it is alone. The nearest American aircraft are 12 minutes away. Running is the smart choice. Defending is the necessary choice if the Chinese aircraft achieve weapons lock. The tactical situation is deteriorating, but the strategic situation is about to become catastrophic, because what happens in the next 60 seconds will determine whether this becomes an incident or a crisis, or the start of something much worse. At 11:52 a.m., the Chinese J-10s acquire radar lock on the American F-35. Missile launch warning systems activate. Razor 1 has defensive options. Chaff and flares to decoy missiles. Electronic countermeasures to break the lock. Extreme maneuvering to defeat missile kinematics. Or offensive action. Fire first. Remove the threat before it becomes launch. The decision tree inside the global conflict room branches into futures measured in casualties and years of consequences. The American pilot takes defensive action, deploys countermeasures, breaks radar lock. The J-10s do not fire. They are closing for visual identification, confirming target before engaging. This gives Razor 1 a window. The F-35 accelerates and dives, using superior energy management to separate from the pursuit. The Chinese fighters follow but cannot match the performance. Within 90 seconds, the F-35 has opened the range to beyond visual distance. The immediate threat is past, but the Chinese pilot is in the water. And now, the race begins. At 11:54 a.m., Chinese maritime rescue helicopter launches from Hainan Island. Flight time to pilot location, approximately 30 minutes. Simultaneously, USS Carl Vinson launches its alert helicopter for search and rescue. Flight time, approximately 28 minutes. Both nations claim territorial waters. Both nations claim responsibility for rescue. Both nations are sending assets to the same location. Whoever reaches the downed pilot first controls the narrative and potentially controls the escalation. The American Carrier Strike Group commander receives the situation report at 11:56 a.m. American F-35 engaged Chinese J-20. Chinese aircraft crashed. Pilot ejected. Chinese rescue helicopter inbound. What are the orders? Option 1. Reach the pilot first. Rescue both pilots if possible. American pilot has visual on Chinese pilot in the water. Helicopter can be on scene in 28 minutes. Get there first. Control the situation. Prevent Chinese propaganda about American aggression. Option 2. Stay clear. This is Chinese pilot in disputed waters. Let China handle rescue. Avoid additional confrontation. Focus on recovering American aircraft safely. Do not escalate by inserting American forces into active rescue operation. Option 3. Coordinate with Chinese forces. Offer joint rescue, humanitarian cooperation during crisis. Show that despite military confrontation, both sides value human life. Use this as de-escalation opportunity. The decision is complicated by what is happening in other locations. Philippines Coast Guard is also responding to the reported aircraft down. They claim the waters. They have ships in the area. Vietnam has surveillance aircraft tracking the situation. Taiwan is monitoring all communications. Japan has reconnaissance assets overhead. Every nation with claims or interests in the South China Sea is watching. This is not bilateral incident. This is regional crisis in the most contested waters on Earth. What happens next determines the next decade. The USS Carl Vinson commander makes the call. Send the helicopter. Reach the pilot first. Offer rescue to Chinese pilot if he accepts. Maintain defensive posture, but do not fire unless fired upon. This is calculated risk. Show humanitarian intent while maintaining operational tempo. At 12:08 p.m., both helicopters are airborne and converging on the same coordinates. The Chinese pilot, Red Dragon 3, is in the water. Survival suit is functioning. Beacon is transmitting. He can see both helicopters approaching from different directions. His radio is receiving transmissions in both Mandarin and English. Chinese helicopter. Red Dragon 3, Chinese rescue inbound. ETA 6 minutes. Maintain position. American helicopter. Downed pilot, U.S. Navy SAR helicopter, offering assistance, will approach from your south. The pilot must decide. Wait for Chinese rescue, accept American assistance, or refuse both and wait for Philippines vessel that is still 40 minutes away. The decision carries consequences beyond personal safety. Accepting American rescue means Beijing loses face. Refusing American rescue while in distress might appear ungrateful or foolish. The propaganda value of the choice will be calculated by both governments, regardless of the pilot's survival concerns. At 12:13 p.m., the American helicopter arrives first. The pilot hovers 50 meters from the Chinese pilot in the water. Rescue swimmer deploys, swimming toward the downed pilot. At 12:14 p.m., the Chinese helicopter arrives, hovers on the opposite side. Their rescue swimmer also deploys, 2 rescuers swimming toward one pilot. The Chinese pilot makes his choice. He swims toward the Chinese rescue swimmer. National loyalty overrides convenience. The American swimmer stops, returns to helicopter. Mission acknowledged as declined. But something has changed in the tactical picture. While both helicopters were focused on the rescue, Chinese naval vessels have closed the distance. Type 052D destroyer is now 12 kilometers away, moving at flank speed. Combat systems active. The American helicopter is in a very dangerous position. At 12:16 p.m., the American helicopter extracts its swimmer and turns for the carrier. The Chinese helicopter extracts Red Dragon 3 and turns for Hainan. The immediate rescue operation is complete. Both pilots are safe. But the crisis is just beginning, because now comes the attribution fight, the blame assignment, the diplomatic confrontation, and the question of whether this incident triggers something larger: necessary deterrence or dangerous escalation. The question echoes through command centers across the Pacific, because the global conflict room analysis reveals that this was not accident, but inevitable result of 2 powers with incompatible claims, operating in the same space, with insufficient rules and excessive confidence. The American F-35 pilot, Razor 1, lands on USS Carl Vinson at 12:34 p.m. Debriefing begins immediately. The pilot's account is clear. Routine patrol, Chinese intercept, aggressive maneuvering by Chinese aircraft, no weapons fired by either side. Chinese aircraft lost control during aggressive maneuver. American aircraft continued mission and returned safely. The Chinese account, broadcast on state media within 2 hours, tells different story. American aircraft violated Chinese territorial airspace. Chinese aircraft scrambled to intercept. American aircraft conducted dangerous maneuver, forcing Chinese aircraft to take evasive action. Chinese pilot was forced to eject due to American aggression. This is unprovoked American hostility toward peaceful Chinese defensive operations. Both accounts cannot be true. Neither account is completely false. The truth is in the space between competing narratives, where perception matters more than facts and political needs override tactical realities. By 2:00 p.m., the diplomatic confrontations begin. China demands formal apology, demands compensation for destroyed J-20 aircraft valued at over $100 million, demands a guarantee that American aircraft will respect Chinese territorial integrity, demands United Nations Security Council emergency session to address American aggression. The United States rejects all demands, states that F-35 was operating in international airspace, states that Chinese pilots' aggressive maneuvering caused his own accident, states that no apology is warranted for lawful operations, states that freedom of navigation will continue regardless of Chinese protests. Philippines, Vietnam, and Taiwan issue statements supporting American position. Japan expresses concern about escalation. South Korea urges both sides to communicate. Australia reaffirms alliance with America while encouraging diplomatic resolution. The regional dynamics are complex and shifting. Which system activates first in a missile alert? A. Radar. B. Satellites. C. Command link. The answer becomes critical when both sides have forces on high alert and hair-trigger protocols, and one false alarm or miscommunication or unauthorized action can start a shooting war that no one in the command structure actually authorized or wanted. At 4:00 p.m., Chinese military forces across the Indo-Pacific region increase readiness. Fighter patrols increase. Naval vessels put to sea. Missile forces conduct readiness drills. This is signaling. This is showing resolve. This is telling America and regional partners that China will not back down. American forces respond in kind. Additional carrier strike group diverts towards South China Sea. Air Force bombers conduct show-of-force flights near international boundaries. Submarine activity increases. Surveillance assets saturate the region. Both militaries are postured for potential conflict, even as both governments claim they seek peaceful resolution. If you follow global conflict analysis, type GCR. The cycle of action and reaction is accelerating because neither side can afford to appear weak before domestic audiences and international observers, and every response requires counter-response, and every counter-response increases the risk that someone makes a mistake that cannot be walked back. At 7:30 p.m., 8 hours after the initial engagement, the two governments agree to one thing. Both pilots survived. No fatalities occurred. This prevents the incident from becoming immediate casus belli. Dead pilots create pressure for retaliation. Surviving pilots create space for diplomacy, however narrow that space might be. But the J-20 is destroyed. This is first combat loss for China's most advanced fighter. This is intelligence bonanza for American analysts who will study every piece of wreckage they can access through satellite or allied collection. This is propaganda disaster for China, showing their premier aircraft could not maintain control during aggressive maneuvering. The implications ripple through military planning on both sides. The American assessment: J-20 has performance limitations. High angle of attack control is insufficient. Pilot training may be inadequate for extreme maneuvering. Future engagements should exploit these weaknesses. The Chinese assessment: American pilots are willing to accept collision risk. F-35 performance in actual combat conditions is validated. Future engagements require numerical superiority. Never engage F-35 one-on-one. Over the following 72 hours, both nations conduct military exercises in and around the South China Sea. Close encounters between ships, close passes by aircraft, radar locks, weapon system activations, each side probing the other's limits, each side demonstrating resolve. The incidents multiply, but no shots are fired. By day 4, a pattern emerges. Both sides are willing to approach the edge, but not cross it. Strategic outcome: first blood without fatalities. Stealth fighters have met in combat. China lost an aircraft. America proved tactical superiority. But neither side achieved strategic victory. The South China Sea remains contested. The claims remain incompatible. The risk remains high. Lessons from command decisions. First lesson: rules of engagement in gray zones are insufficient. Both pilots followed their orders and still ended in confrontation. The orders themselves create collision courses. Second lesson: rescue operations become tactical competitions. Humanitarian operations are not exempt from strategic calculations. Saving lives is also about controlling narratives. Third lesson: surviving pilots allow de-escalation. Had either pilot died, pressure for retaliation would be immense. Survival creates off-ramps that fatalities eliminate. Was escalation avoidable? Who bears responsibility? What decision would you make in that room? These questions follow every commander who must balance honor and restraint, because the global conflict room shows that modern war does not start with declarations and invasions, but with intercepts and accidents and split-second decisions at 25,000 feet above disputed waters, where international law is ambiguous and national pride is absolute. Subscribe to Global Conflict Room, inside the room where history changes.